With all of the health and just general wellness books out there, sometimes it can be really confusing and even just overwhelming trying to figure out which books to read next. For the past few years, I've spent a lot of my time thoroughly exploring a wide range of these type of books. My goal was to be able to sift through the overwhelming amount of information and be able to pinpoint these specific insights with you. In this video, I'm going to be going over a few very eye-opening books that helped me on my own journey. The first book I would recommend is Why Calories Don't Count by Dr. Giles Yeo. This was an eye-opener for me. This actually came at a really good time. So back in my fitness journey, which began in 1996, I was counting calories relentlessly. It was like taxing, to say the least. It took a lot of time. It was very frustrating at times. And then after years of not counting calories, I decided to kind of cycle on and cycle off. So I picked up this book and I started researching or just like looking into some of the stuff that he was talking about. But what I really like is that this is based in scientific research, and he challenges the popular notion of the common perception that we have to count calories in order to meet our goals, our fitness goals. And he comes up with a much better approach that not only helps you listen to your body more, but it also goes over a much better way to kind of tune in and be able to eat more nutrient-dense foods without having to obsess over numbers. And for those wondering, this is a very easy to understand book. It's not overly complicated, and he does actually also offer his own perspective on things, which I think is really refreshing. I love when a book is going to show you like scientific information and talk about that by a credible person that has that experience, but that also shares a more personal approach. So it goes over many different things backed by science, including the fact that calories can change when you cook them or when you cook, certain foods. And I don't want to give everything away, so I suggest everybody definitely read this book to start out with. But it definitely came at a good time in my life, and it really just kind of woke me up and helped me understand it. And eventually I got to the point where I was able to get off of calorie counting, which I'm still not counting today. So I was able to actually meet all of my goals and even exceed my goals with, just listening to my body and eating more nutrient-dense foods. So if you're frustrated too, and you want a good place to start to teach you the methods and the reasoning why calories are not exactly accurate, definitely pick up this book. Another thing that I like that he does go in the very beginning is that he gives us a little detail and a little insight on where calories first were created in the first place. Definitely start with this book first. It is a true eye-opener. The next book I would recommend is The Good Gut by Justin and Erica Sonnenberg, who are actually a scientific research couple. I believe Justin is in microbiology and his wife is in scientific research. So they offer valuable scientific information. But what I really love about this book, and this is about the gut microbiome, by the way, it teaches you how the gut microbiome is responsible for many aspects in our entire body. But what I really love is that not only do they give you scientific information, but they break it down for you on a very easy to understand level, and they offer their own experience. They actually had something that happened with their child, and they go into detail on how they helped and how they were able to use foods as a resource for healing the gut microbiome. And it goes into detail. It even starts at like the very beginning. So where gut microbes first began in in our whole entire life cycle, and how you can improve upon it, things you can eat, things you can, take internally to help the gut microbiome. And so I love this book because, like I said, it just gives a very good personal perspective. And this came at a good time for me as well. So I was very much interested in learning more about the emerging science of the gut microbiome and the gut microbes, because I started seeing more and more people get hit with like IBS, and which, is a condition that is caused by dysbiosis. And what that is basically when gut microbes kind of get off balance, and creates a whole imbalance in the gut microbiome. So I started seeing that more and more people and I definitely think it has something to do with all these freaking processed foods for sure, ultra processed foods. That's a whole other category in itself, but it really just came at a good time, and it put so much into perspective. It made so much sense, and I was able to take this knowledge and improve upon my own diet as well. The next book is The Great Cholesterol Myth by Dr. Johnny Bowden and Dr. Steven Sinatra. This is actually the revised version, so just something to note. This is about cholesterol. This challenges the popular notion that fat is responsible for the high cholesterol numbers and that all high cholesterol numbers are bad. I love that these are two credible people, and while they do still, talk about like medicine and stuff like that, and I just a quick note here, I am not against medicine. I believe that there is a time and a place, but I also believe that a more natural, holistic approach is something that we need to lean more towards. And this book goes over, it really is, again, it's another eye-opening book. I keep saying that, but it really is true. It is a very eye-opening book. There's a lot of guidance in here and things that you can do naturally to improve your cholesterol. This also gives you tests that you can be asking your doctor for. And I think that's really important because unfortunately, in today's society, when we, go see our doctor, a lot of the times if we don't know what to ask, then that information is not provided to us. And so this book goes into great detail on things that you can ask your doctor, certain tests that you should be requesting that doctors usually will not offer you if you don't ask. And that's a whole other subject in itself, but I think it's important to gain that knowledge, and so that you know what type of things you need to be doing to take charge of your health, and just make sure that you're getting the best health care instead of just relying on what everybody's saying. Gain that knowledge that you need, and challenge what your doctors are saying, and make sure that they're giving you the best information possible. I would even bring this to your doctor, like say, hey, what do you think about this? Have you heard about this test? Why haven't I gotten this test? Things like that, right? And it really does. It challenges so many different aspects, and really just makes you think. And it's, like I said, it's based on scientific evidence. It's not based on some like hocus pocus mumbo jumbo weird nonsense, which I think is amazing. And so these books are definitely something that I would recommend. I think it's very important. Knowledge is power. I always say that. And I think the most important takeaway here for this book is that you gain valuable information and actually learn about your levels and what they mean. Because I don't know about you, but I've often felt that like when I go to the doctor, I feel like I don't get like the whole picture. And I think it's important that we do. I think it's important that we understand like, what this means. What does this number mean? Okay, but like there's a scientific term you gave me, but what does it mean? Like break it down for me on a simple level, on something that I can understand. And I think that's very important, especially when we're dealing with our health. And so this book will give you all the knowledge. It'll give you the tests, like I said, the tests that you need to be asking for, what those specific numbers mean, like what are LDL particles and what does that have to do with the total number of cholesterol. So much great information in all of these books. And I think that you'll absolutely gain so much knowledge and be able to make better informed decisions on your own health. The links to all these books are in the description of my video, and if you're looking for valuable, free health and wellness information, subscribe to my newsletter in the description.